Okay, so let's focus on some charity football to end tonight's show with. So I'm delighted to say that we're joined now by, North Derbyshire Radio's very own sports journalist and Derbyshire United charity founder, Joshua Smith. Joshua, how's it going? You okay?
I'm good, Matthew. Thanks for having us on again.
Yeah, no problem at all. No problem. So it's been a little while. It's been about maybe 3 months, 4 months maybe since we've last had you on, and it certainly sounds like there's been a lot of developments with Derbyshire United football for good. So first of all, Josh, to begin with, I think we've got news of a permanent home ground that you've now got for Derbyshire United. Can you start off with that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a mental few months, which is why we've just not had the time to come on. But we're grateful for the coverage again. Yes, we're delighted to have announced recently that we've reached a ground share agreement with Teversol FC. They're just the other side of the border into Nottinghamshire, but we haven't let that put us off because the club is a great setup. The great people. They've been massively supportive of us and what we're doing. We knew that this was in the pipeline quite some time ago. They'd made very clear that they wanted to support us, but we agreed to wait until after the event last week. And the chairman of Teversol pulled me to one side, and we had a really, really positive, constructive chat. He was very impressed with everything we'd done leading up to the event, the night itself. I think he was in particular impressed with the bar takings as well, if I'm honest. And he was more than happy to say, look, this is definitely something we want to get behind. It opens up so many avenues for us now, as well as, of course, having a home ground, which is something that we're immensely proud of. For any charity club, you're basically really a Sunday league level club when you're a charity club. That's kind of the realistic aspect of it. You're doing it for a different reason, but that's sort of the level you're at. So when you think Sunday league, you're thinking local playing field. There's a changing room if you're lucky. That's your lot. For us to have turnstiles on arrival, for us to have floodlights, um, for us to have a bar on site and covered seating for people to sit and watch the games, and a function room and everything else. It's an absolute dream come true. It's something we're incredibly proud of. But as I say, it opens up so many fundraising avenues. Teversol are really pushing Derbyshire United amongst their own fan base, hoping to see plenty of their familiar faces joining us. We saw some of them on Friday as well. We'll be selling merchandise through the club all year round. Um, they'll be promoting us every term. We'll have some advertising up. But for us to be able to play games on a regular basis without any overheads as well, it means we can maximise the fundraising that we're doing. We've got somewhere to put on more and more events over the coming months and years.
Great stuff. All sounds good then. So, in terms of your most recent game, it wasn't too long ago. Why was that such a significant one? And just in particular, what charity or charities were you raising money for in that game?
Friday was a huge one last week. It was so a week ago today. It was a massive game. We knew it was going to be quite big. We had a lot of new players joining us, and we knew they were going to bring a big following. We know the logistics of where the ground is meant that we've got a huge amount of people that live really close by as well. So we broke our attendance record. We had over 250 people at that game, which again, for a club of this size, is absolutely outstanding. Alfreton have been getting just under 300 at some of their games. It's incredible to think that, we were around that level. We had lots of other little things that we did as well. We had the biggest raffle we've ever done. We had the most money raised from a raffle, but the big ones for us, we hit a few key milestones. We had the biggest fundraising event of our time so far. We raised over £2,500 last Friday, which was a huge effort. But the biggest thing for me from that was it tipped us over as a charity from being founded back in June. We tipped over the £10,000 raised for charity mark, which I think is absolutely outstanding. And for us to hit that on a record night as well just made that even more special for me. The money that we raised for that, again, another big milestone from that night. We've teamed up with a school called Queen Elizabeth Academy based in Mansfield, who our club captain, Jamie Matthew, works for. Jamie Scoven, I should say. I always call him Jamie Matthews. It's his middle name, and that's what he goes by on Facebook. But it's Jamie Scoven, who's our club captain. He's a teacher at Queen Elizabeth Academy. And one of his colleagues is a woman called Lucy, who's a very inspirational woman. She comes from Kenya. And back in her hometown, she fundraises for children's places to go to school because over there, of course, education is not free. It costs £75 per child per year to get an education, something we massively take for granted over here. A lot of the students, of course, as well, need board over there, and so they live at the school, and there's extra costs associated with that. And we spoke to Lucy and said, how many children are on this list, and how much will it cost to send every single one of them to school? And we managed to raise enough money to do that. So every single child that was desperate for this school place in this town is now going to school because of us, and we're immensely proud of that. And we raised the money so quickly, a lot quicker than we expected. What we've now pledged to do as well is we're actually going to match that funding pound for pound. So the money it's cost us, it was just over £1,800 to send 23 children to school. We're now going to raise the same again, and we're going to invest that in equipment for the school. So the schools still use blackboards over there as well. We're going to get proper whiteboards for the teachers, which sounds like such a small thing, buying a whiteboard for a classroom. But actually, one in every classroom, it's a massive improvement for the teachers. We're going to buy a huge amount of sports equipment as well. We're going to get some Derbyshire United clothing out there for them as well, because again, clothing is something so many children come to school not suitably dressed because they just don't have the means over there to do that. But also some stuff for the living area, because it's not the nicest environment for the children to live. It's a safe environment. They're incredibly grateful for it, but it's very, very basic. And the idea behind that is, yes, we've sent them to school and that is the main thing, but we now want to maximize that experience, both academically, but also just emotionally. We want those children to thrive. We don't want them to just have the money to go to school. We want to make sure that when they go to school, the teachers have got the proper equipment. When they're playing, they've got the best sports equipment to use. And when they're asleep, they're happy, they're safe, they're comfortable. And we're doing absolutely everything we can for that.
Mm. Well, I'm sure a lot of our listeners will be wondering what your next game is then, and where it will be taking place. So what's the details for your next game? Where will it be? Who you're playing, and what's sort of like the significance around this next game for Derbyshire United?
Well, where to start? So we've announced our fixture list for March in full. We've got 3 events taking place in March. For those who aren't familiar with how we do things, we are unique as a charity. We're not competitive. We are a safe place for footballers of all abilities. We've got some footballers with disabilities. We've got some who've never played before but love the game. We've got some who are using it as a tool to get fitter. We've got some that, because of injuries, don't want to play competitively. We've got some that don't have the commitment to play weekly, like Sunday League as well. So we are a massive mixed ability team, and we're very proud of that. And we use our stronger players to help improve the weaker players, for want of a better phrase. We're very proud of the development of those players. So with that in mind, we have 2 teams within Derbyshire United, and we play against each other. And the idea behind that is we can make the teams of an even sort of ability, so that players who are not the best players, like myself, have got a good chance in that game, because you're playing against similar ability players, and everybody then enjoys the occasion. So they are our main events we do once a month, where we have the Derbyshire United in-house main event, and we always have a huge turnout for those. So that this month is taking place on the Sunday the 16th at Belper Town. But before that, on the Friday, we're playing. So again, every month we also play against another charity team. And this month it's our friends at Sen United. So these guys got in touch with us. We're going back about 5 or 6 months now, trying to get a game booked in. And we've just been so busy. We constantly kept saying to them, look, we're not fobbing you off here. We will get around to this. We'd love to play you. We're just so busy at the minute. And they've been brilliant with us. And they booked us in. He got in touch with me in a bit of a panic, bless him, a couple of months ago, and said, I've just booked a fixture in. Is it against you? And I said, I've not had anything. He was like, I've booked the wrong team. He messaged me saying, I've booked the wrong team. So can we book you in as well? And I was like, yes. We had a good laugh about it. And I said, yeah, it's not a problem. And we booked it in for December. He then got in touch with me this week to say, we've had a cancellation in March. Can you take that one? And then we'll give your game in December to this other team. So ironically, it took us months to organise. And then within days of organising it, we've moved it months forward. But we're looking forward to playing that. They've been long-standing friends of us as a club, been very supportive. We've been in constant communication. So we're really looking forward to playing them. Sen United are brilliant. They raise money for SEN children across Derbyshire because the funding isn't great in schools nowadays for special educational needs children. and they do fantastic work. They've raised a huge amount of money in the time they've been going. They're a long-standing charity, and we're delighted to be able to play them. So that's at Ilkeston's new manor ground. The third event we've got this month, we're doing a six-a-side tournament. We did this back in November for children in need, and it was really successful, and it was really good fun. So we're doing that again. We're doing that for Comic Relief, and that will be on the weekend of Comic Relief. So it'll be afterwards. Comic Relief's on the Friday. That weekend we'll be doing that in Alfreton as well.
Okay, great stuff. And I know when we've spoken before on this show in the past about the big plans that you had for this summer. I know we've spoken before about the idea of a 24-hour game involving, I'd imagine literally thousands of players. What's the latest you can give us on that?
Yeah, so you've hit the nail on the head. It's a massive event. We will need thousands of players, and that will be open to the public to register as a player for a donation to the charity. We're going to have a lot of former players turning out as well. And that's open to men and women. It's going to be a fantastic event. We have actually postponed that to next year now, just because we're having so much success now as a charity. We didn't foresee this. When I first set this up, it was with the intention of building up towards that event. We do a few games in the meantime to keep the players enthusiastic and get the publicity out there for the public. But actually what we found is that what we're doing is massively mega successful. And we're making huge amounts of money. So we've gone past the £10,000 mark is phenomenal. We've just had our record month, as I mentioned earlier. We don't want to kill that momentum. If we announce the 24-hour game this summer, yes, it will do really well, but then it drops off again. Whereas at the moment, we've got this momentum, we've got this success in terms of raising this money. We want to carry that on for a bit longer. So we had a chat with the players and said, look, do we need to stop what we're doing now and do this, or do we carry on and push this down the line a little bit? And the overwhelming opinion was, let's carry on. Let's keep doing this. Let's have another year of doing this. And then we do that next summer. So the 24-hour game is going to be next summer. We're still waiting to finalise the details, but all being well, it's going to be Maybank holiday, the second one, I think, or maybe I can't remember. I think it might be the first one, actually. I think it's the first, the first bank holiday in May at the start of the month next year, which we're really excited about. But we've got so many other things happening this year as well. We're going to be doing, for the first time for us as a club, to celebrate our anniversary, we're actually going to be playing a cricket match at Alfreton Cricket Club. With us being an FA sanctioned club, an affiliated club, we are not permitted to play football in June. June's our anniversary month, and we've been discussing doing cricket for a while. Our friends at Alfreton Cricket Club have been fantastically supportive of everything. They're hosting our Christmas party there, they're hosting the awards night there. And they've asked us to put a team in for a six-a-side tournament in May as well, which we're doing, and we're excited for. So we're going to play a cricket match instead, doing something a little bit different. Later on this year, we're going to be doing a darts night as well. And we've also got plans for a Derbyshire Charity Football League, which I'm going to leave there for now. A little bit of a tease for you, but that's something that we're looking to launch later this year as well.
Okay, fantastic. And just before we wrap up, Josh, just for any listeners that have been listening along to this conversation and they maybe want to get involved in some way, maybe through playing or something behind the scenes, or they just want to get a bit more information about the Derbyshire United football charity team, how can they go about doing that, and what sort of social media sites are you on where they can get a bit more updates as well?
Facebook is absolutely the hub of all our operations. We've got nearly 1,500 followers on our Facebook page. So that is very much where we focus our energies. So if you head to Facebook and you search for Derbyshire United, you'll know it's us because you'll see a club logo, which is very inspired by the Derbyshire flag. And you'll see Derbyshire United Football for Good. And you can follow us there. If you can see we've got nearly 1,500 followers, you'll know it's us because we're the only club in the East Midlands that's got over 1,000. We've been incredibly popular on social media as well.
Okay. Yeah, well, absolutely fantastic. I'm glad to hear there's so much progress being made with this charity site. Because I remember speaking to you when it was first starting, and it's grown loads over the past 8-9 months or so. So absolutely fantastic, Josh, and I'm sure we'll speak to you again soon about Derbyshire United. So thanks for your time, mate.
Pleasure, Matt. Thank you again.